Hello and welcome to today's Master Key. Every Monday, we get together and we talk about an important topic to help you get started on your week. This week, we are talking about offboarding. So, if you are a leader in an organization and you know layoffs are coming, or you're an HR professional who is talking about layoffs right now, or you just conducted layoffs and it was a disaster, let's keep it real, or you just got laid off, you are in the right place. This is probably the time to engage one of Leader Key's consultants. And I am Latrice Torres. I am the CEO of Leader Keys, and I'm here to walk you through the topic of offboarding today. So, when we talk about offboarding with intention, most people are like, what the heck is offboarding? Um, it's the same thing as onboarding, just on the opposite end. And I'm going to talk about how to do that right for organizations and individuals today. I'm going to give tips for both. If you're the person doing the layoffs or reduction in force, like whatever you want to call it, whether it's a voluntary separation from an organization or involuntary, I'm going to talk about why offboarding is just as important as onboarding is and why you should pay attention to it and turn it into an actual leadership and culture opportunity. So, what is it and why does it matter? I'm going to give a very simple definition for offboarding. Just like onboarding is to ensure the success of an incoming new employee, offboarding is to ensure the success of someone who's transitioning out of the organization. Again, whether it's voluntary or involuntary. In fact, most of the clients I work with for offboarding, it's actually for involuntary separations, but it works for both. It's important for both how a person leaves an organization. If you don't think it's important, just go jump on Glassdoor and look up your company right now and see what people are saying after they leave, right? Why I'm talking about it so much is because offboarding is usually handled poorly. And when it's handled poorly, it is trash, straight up. It trashes everything: morale, reputation. There's legal risk, there's bad vibes, and worst of all, there's this survivor talk. If you really are talking and getting real about mass layoffs or organizational restructures or reductions in force. Again, whatever you want to call it, when people leave and it's done and it's handled poorly, it's just bad. It's again, it is trash, and most people are trash at doing it. So let me tell you if this sounds familiar, whether you are again a person impacted by it or on the other end. I have spent 25 years in the human resources field, and I could tell you this is usually trash. So let me get into it. They decide we're going to have to let some people go. At some point, there's a conversation in leadership. It's like, okay, we're going to have to cut some people out. How are we going to handle this? And then somebody, I don't even know when this started, came up with this brilliant idea where it's like, okay, here's what we'll do. We'll have this, town hall, all hands, all company, whatever they want to call it, meeting where we get everybody, whether in the room or in Zoom, which is usually what it is now, but we get everybody together and then we break the news and we say, hey, we are going to be letting some people go. This is how it's going. And then, by the way, if you get an email after this, you gone. Bye bye. Right? Like that's usually what happens. And sometimes before the meeting is even over, people's stuff is turned off. They're already getting, forget the email. You like in the middle of the meeting and somebody is like, they just got this email, right? Or yeah, I can't get into Slack anymore, whatever. Like it's just, again, trash. It's trash. And for some reason, we have decided, and I'm saying we because I'm going to take responsibility being part of HR, that this is a good idea, but it does not have to be handled this way. In fact, it can actually be handled well. And if it's done right, then there's a lot of benefits to offboarding being, not such a horrible thing. Of course, someone losing a job is terrible, and you're not going to be able to get rid of that feeling, right? But at the same time, you can do it better. So imagine a world where you announce that layoffs are going to be happening at least, a few weeks, a few months in advance. Because let me tell you, we're talking about this. It's not like if somebody wakes up and rolls over and it's like, hey, fire 80 people. Like that's not how that happens. It's not a light decision. And I'm a true believer. Nobody that no matter what you think about your leadership team, I promise you, they are not getting in the meeting and going, how can we get rid of people in the shittiest way possible? I promise you that's not going to happen. And if this is your first time being in one of my sessions and me cussing is a surprise to you, I apologize, but that's what you're going to get when you're in here. But again, no one is waking up going, how can we handle this as badly as possible and make people feel as bad as possible? That's not what they're thinking. They also are not thinking F how they're feeling, right? They're not thinking that. The thing is they're thinking, bottom line, what's good for the business, blah, 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 whatever the reasons are, that's actually what's on their mind. Unfortunately, the human element is sometimes taken completely out of it. It's dollars and cents at this point. And I mean cents and cents. It's both of those things. And so there's a lot of conversation. So if you're having a lot of those conversations, what we are saying here at Leader Keys is that we can help you have better conversations around that, package it up better, put the empathy back into that process. For employers, if you do this right, then you're boosting internal trust. You have some positive branding. It's an actual culture lever. If you think about it and do it thoughtfully and align it to the way your organization rolls. I've actually been in organizations who really list, typically it's not called offboarding, it's usually outplacement. And outplacement is absolutely still a thing. I'm proposing offboarding, which is something that has more of an empathic touch to it. And that again impacts your culture. To know that your full cycle in an organization has had some thought, up and including if you leave an organization or when you leave an organization. I think that's better stated. All right. For transitioning individuals, if you have recently been laid off or you have left a role and you did not have another opportunity already lined up, we have a lot of different services to help you with that. And this is all a part of offboarding. Um, this is an opportunity for you to realign with your career goals. Are you going in a direction? Are you still doing the things? Are the things you said you wanted to do still on the radar? And are you lined up appropriately to actually do that? It can foster some new opportunities. I'm a big believer when one door closes, it's because another one is opening, or that I'm preparing myself to open another door, right? So this is an opportunity to actually explore that and do that. There could be a discovery of skills, knowledge, experiences. There's a big one. I'm going to give you a big bonus at the end of this for organizations and individuals around discovery of skills, knowledge, and experiences. Capturing what you actually accomplished in that organization on your way out and not a few weeks afterwards, or when you have to actually look at your resume and do something with it, like really thinking about this in advance, right? And then the other thing that is a really strong benefit of offboarding done right is that there's an identification of your growth opportunities for employers as well as individuals. This is actually should be listed under both. When we do offboarding correctly, then the employer learns how to do this more effectively and be a more supportive employer, even during a transition and exit. For individuals, you are then saying, okay, what have I done? What have I gained in this role in my time here that I'm now going to carry on to the next phase of my career? So this is all about growth. This is all about development. This is all about moving into that next stage. So at Leader Keys, we have framed this in 5 different stages, right? These are actually 5 opportunities in terms of the way that we think about offboarding. So here are the 5 buckets: resume writing and LinkedIn optimization. I'm going to get into exactly what that looks like in the next piece, but I wanted to make sure that we understand that that is the core. That's the core of it, is that you are ready. Your stuff is ready to go for that next step. All right. So that's your resume, that's your LinkedIn. And I'll tell you why those are both important in just a moment. We also offer career development planning. So, not just taking those pieces, like those tangible pieces, but also what's the plan? What are you doing? How does this align to your long term? Right? Ongoing, we also offer career coaching. So, those are the three big pillars that an organization needs to understand is a part of the offboarding process. What is next in terms of the tangible things, the development, and then the coaching, right? And then also for an organization, they also can tap into two services that we offer. One, knowledge transition planning. While we do not need to be expert in every single person's job, what we are experts in is putting together frameworks that actually work, that help people take what they need to do and what they need to pass on before they go, and then distill that into a process that becomes a true handoff. We're experts at doing that, and we can help with that piece. We also offer exit interviewing and reporting. We will actually conduct the exit interview because let me tell you, being in HR, as long as I was in HR, I know with working with tons of HR business partners and managers and leaders that the exit interview process is never something that they really want to do. In fact, some have really automated it and everything. They've actually taken some of the human element out of it. And unfortunately, what has happened is that we have not built in and baked in some actual measurable information into those exit interviews. So what we have done is we have come up with a scalable and transferable approach to exit interviewing that is very measurable, right? You get insights and we aggregate that information to provide reporting and recommendations back to leadership so that you can find out and learn what did you get right and what did you get wrong and how can you do better? How can an organization grow? Remember, I said before, offboarding is about growth. It's growing for the individual as well as growing for the organization as well. I said this before, this is your opportunity as an organization to infuse empathy into that process. And that process is really, again, its purpose is to support departing individuals into what they are going to do next. Here's the thing. That's your only role in this. Leader Keys is here to take over after that. That's what we do. We take over and then we are that support system. All you have to do is put us in place. That is what you need to do. And then we would take it from there and we are the support system after that. But just that one action shows that departing individual that, okay, even on my way out, this is the right decision for me. And I have some type of support system that's going to help me make my next good decision. All right. Even when that decision is taken out of their hands. Again, a closed door means an open door to something else. You really want it to be seen that way. All right. I know there's a couple rolled eyes here, offboarding, doing this with involuntary. It's a scary thing, but let me tell you, once the deed is done, it's done. What do you have to lose in this? Whether a person feels salty because they've been let go, there's going to be salty no matter what. But if you can be salty and you can also invest in their success, why not? Again, there's nothing to lose in this. There's only things to gain. Right? Imagine going to your Glassdoor and be like, yeah, I got laid off, but I got this really supportive service that really helped me with figuring out what my next step is. Just imagine that review, right? That's much better than they let me go and F everything about them. Here's all their dirty secrets, right? Like it's just a better scenario. So when you invest in success, there are 3 core packages, offboarding packages for organizations to actually choose from. And every single one of those packages, however, there is resume writing, LinkedIn optimization, and then the career development planning. Right? That's the core session. However many sessions you choose is the difference between those packages. And there's also the other difference between those packages is just in quantity. right? And then there are additional add-ons that you can add to it. We can do actual workshops. I actually worked with an organization that was closing down an entire research facility. They knew it in advance. They knew that what was coming. So we did workshops in preparation. So I was able to actually work with all of them in groups to do the resume and LinkedIn optimization so that we can kind of knock that out all in one piece. And then they actually then paid for one-on-one career coaching sessions that they added on top of that. So that's one way to package that up. So we customize the package just depending on whatever you need. I love that piece because that's the piece where an organization actually announces and lets people know in advance that it's coming, not 5 minutes before their laptop is shut off. So that's a best case scenario, right? There's also the exit interviewing, preparation, and execution, the reporting, the transition planning. We have all those services. Those are all add-ons, right? But if you engage us to really discuss your service as a part of your benefit and amenity offerings, then it's aligned, it's purposeful, it's already planned out, and people already are aware of it, both your human resources teams as well as just employees in general. Again, the life cycle doesn't end because you've given out pink slips, right? Again, they're still going to talk about you. There's still going to be people who can recommend your organization for other people to come and work there and everything. Like they still can be ambassadors. You want to turn them into ambassadors and not detractors, right? So it's important to think about this as a part of your benefit and amenity offerings. For individuals, we have all of our featured services for your offboarding. So that can again include the LinkedIn, the resume writing, the career coaching. We have different packages. Those are also very clearly labeled in our featured services on our website. And then we also do other things like interview preparation or compensation negotiation coaching, which is my favorite thing to do. I love to talk money and compensation. There's development planning, there's gap analysis, there's job search strategy. There's all different types of things. So if you go onto our feature services page as an individual who may be in between roles, we have plenty to offer to you as well. I said before I was going to get into how it works, like the resume writing, the LinkedIn optimization, the career development plan. So let me break those three things down for you now. So let's start with the professional resume writing. Okay, I have seen hundreds, if not at this point, over 1,000 resumes. And there are some consistent things that I see all the time. So the first one is if you have never actually worked with somebody to put your resume together, more than most likely you have just winged it, looked it up, gotten a template maybe, or you've got something in college, right? You put together your college and you are insistent. And I can't tell you how many of clients I've come across on it being one page. All right. I want you to run to our YouTube page and watch my resume writing class to learn some basics of some habits we need to break. But that's the first one, is being in this mindset of one page and fitting everything onto it and just throwing in descriptions of every single thing we've ever done, right? So I help to unpack that. And our coaches help to walk you through a process of writing your resume for 2025 and beyond. The reason why I'm making that distinction is because there are things we never even considered before. The big thing being AI, being the applicant tracking systems. There's usually a human looking at your information after the AI has done its due diligence, which means we need to be designing our resumes for the AI and not for the human. I'm going to just straight out say it. Your resume does not have to be pretty anymore. We don't need fancy paper. We don't need it to have fancy scents. It doesn't need to come in a resume folder. We don't need to do all of that. All of that is all. We don't need that. We need to pass the AI. We need to be able to align in the applicant tracking system to the roles. That means keywords, key phrases. That means showing impact results like that. We need to have quantifiable measurements in our resume. Those are all things that we're not even thinking of. We tend to write resumes like job descriptions. We're going to break that habit. We have to meet AI standards. You got to stand out above the competitive market. You have to make your resume uniquely you. It cannot read like a job description. So I'll give you one more tip a little bit later, but that's what the professional resume writing. And here's the thing. I like to coach people that they don't ever have to come back to us again. I'm going to teach you what you need to know about resume writing so that you not only get this resume right, but you can you could be able to apply that no matter what to the future. Okay, then we do LinkedIn optimization. You can create a profile, but if that profile is not working for you, if it's not showcasing your experience, your knowledge, the application of your knowledge, skills, your visibility, if it's not doing all of those things, then your LinkedIn is not working for you. If you do your LinkedIn right, your job strategy is going to include those recruiters and hiring managers seeking you, not just you out there looking for it and applying to everything up underneath the sun. If you get your LinkedIn right, then you're going to have both of those scenarios playing in your advantage, right? So we want to optimize appropriately from the top of that profile all the way to the bottom, all the way to you understand the importance of building your network as well as having a voice. And then we also do that career development planning. So as we're doing that process, the whole entire time, there's coaching that's going on inside of there. How to talk about yourself, what your elevator pitch is sounding like, what your professional brand is sounding like, how is all of these activities aligning up to the thing that you really want to do, right? I think everybody should have retirement on your mind. I don't care if retirement is 45, 50 years away. I don't care. You still should have it on your mind because you should know what your end destination is. I don't care if it's a title or an accomplishment or just a placement. I don't care what that is. You should know what the end result is. And then you should be working your way backwards from that. I'm going to have a great session on one of these Mondays. I think it's coming up in 2 Mondays from now. But essentially, we're going to talk about reverse goal setting so that you think with the end in mind. If you're familiar with the 7 habits of highly effective people, you should be familiar with that. Think with the end in mind. Same thing for career development planning. So that's all of the things that are included in our featured services as well as our offboarding package. And that piece is crucial to the way people are set up and the way their mindset is shifting from I'm leaving an organization to I'm preparing myself for what is next. That is a big jump. And sometimes we can get bogged down in I'm leaving an organization so far that we impede our own selves. We work against ourselves in figuring out what that next door, what that next opportunity, what that next step in our careers are. That's where offboarding comes in. Again, we can add on personalized career coaching. I have organizations that will just pre-purchase the coaching packages for their individuals so that they can just go on and just tap into them however way they would like to tap into it. We have, again, all different types of packages and offerings to be able to add those things on there as well. But the career coaching is going to get you through the other stages, the stages that's beyond the resume and the LinkedIn and the planning to the execution, to the actual conversations, to preparing for interviews, to preparing to have the compensation conversation, all of those different things, all the way up to even planning what your first 90 days in the new organization is going to look like, right? We have career coaching that is exactly that. It is for the entire lifespan of a career. So you pick and choose how you want that offboarding to look for your departing employees. So before I wrap up, I want to give one bonus. This bonus is actually for both organizations and for individuals. So however you can activate this, I want to talk about performance reviews. Why is performance reviews even a topic when we're talking about offboarding? So let me take the organizational approach first. In a performance review, an individual comes in and they basically have to cheerlead for themselves. They're not coming in and tell you, hey, I showed up to work every single day, give me my bonus. You're making them work for it, right? They would have had to set goals and they would have had to show their accomplishments towards those goals. So they're going to talk about results. They're going to talk about impact. They're They're going to talk about scope. They're going to really dig into what did they do, because they need to earn their bonus, right? You write a performance review based on performance and impact and results. That's what needs to go on a resume. This is the biggest tip I give to everyone writing a resume. Change the way you think about your resume. It is not a job description. So imagine if you just activated one thing for offboarding. And I know I'm shooting Leader Keys in the foot here. So besides even hiring us, you could just give up to 5 years of performance reviews to the exiting employee. Just put that in place. That one thing. And you will see the difference in your scores and people in your exit interviews, right? And the thought process as a person is leaving. You're like, oh, you gave me my performance reviews, right? Just make it a habit. Make it a part of your process. Make it a part of the whole offboarding process that you have internally. You turn off the computer before you turn off the computer, all that kind of stuff like that, and everything like that. You told them prepare in advance, PDF performance reviews, download them, give it to them, right? As an individual, you also can do this for yourself. If you ever find yourself like, oh, you're going to be part of the RIF, part of the layoffs, whatever, go and get your performance reviews. Ask for it. Even if you have already left an organization and you're sitting right now and you're like, I don't even know what I'm doing next and everything, go back and remind yourself of the accomplishments you had in your last job. They need to get onto your resume anyway, but also it's reflective of the knowledge, the skills, the experience that you may not even be thinking about that's transferable into the next opportunity. So go get it. Go ask. You can ask somebody. You still have a contact there and say, hey, can I get my last 5 years of performance reviews? Maybe just the last 3 years of performance reviews. But you need to have that. And if you don't have really solid performance reviews, then I just want you to think about writing your resume as a performance review. This is just a bonus that I want to give because, again, this is a part of your offboarding. And I can tell you, this is probably the second thing that I talk about the most with my career clients is think about your resume differently. It is a sell sheet for you. This is what's going to get you to the next thing. Your performance reviews earned you your bonus. Your resume is going to earn you your next salary. All of this is about your money. Go get it. Right? So go and brag about yourself because every single client tells me I'm not good about talking about me. I'm not good about listing my accomplishments. I don't know. I don't want to sound too braggy. Like I get that, right? I hear it. I get it. I receive it, but it's just not a thing. You need to earn your money. You need to get paid what your value actually is. If you don't know what your value is, they damn sure ain't going to know what your value is. So you really have to learn how to cheerlead for yourself. Think about it as a performance review. Think about it as how you are earning your bonus. Now you are earning your next salary. That's it. Period. All right. So get those performance reviews. All right. If you enjoyed this session, we have a session every single Monday. The replays are all on our YouTube page. Go on to youtube.com/@LeaderKeysUnlocked, and you can see the replay of this and all of our other sessions. We are building up our library so that we have more, and we also will release a new one every Monday through the end of the year. We also have paid master classes in full transparency. Those are $39. They are every Thursday. You can go on to leaderkeysunlock.com/masterclass and you can look at the classes. I have a really dope ass compensation class. It's one of my favorite ones, but all of them, we really dive into LinkedIn. There we talk about branding. There's some really good master classes that happen every single Thursday. And then we have career resources as well, different guides, worksheets, things like that, that you can find on our website that are really great in terms of allowing you to really get things together. So go check those out. Some of them are free as well. And we're putting free resources on there every single day. So jump on there. We also have some merch if you want to rock some of our, if you also see some of our authentic and unapologetic classes as well, you'll see that we have a lot of merch for that. So with that, I'd like to thank you for your time, your energy, your attention. Share this, like, subscribe, comment, put your questions in. I answer questions for a while. I'm always going back and checking just to make sure. You can direct message me, connect with me, Latrice Torres, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok. It's authentic and unapologetic. And I am really excited to continue to bring these to you. Have a wonderful week. Remember, you've had your master key. Now go beyond and unlock your possibilities.